Here we go. On this episode, we got Mail Time, Dirty Reaver, England, Adam Bikepacking, and social media.
And cookies!
And cookies! Hi, and welcome to This is Gravel. I'm Bobby Thompson, and sitting next to me is LeLan Danes of Dirty Kansas fame. It's a busy time for you right now.
It's a very busy time. Dirty Kansas is just a few weeks away.
How many? 3? 3 is few, isn't it?
Yeah, that is generally...
I did bring my coffee with me today to help wake myself up. So, no, I mean, is that what's been going on? Before you answer that, I want to officially tell everybody out there that there will be no more home remodeling updates from LeLan. He is officially done. So from now on, if you'd like any home remodeling tips, feel free to email him.
I've been using this as a platform for HGTV submissions.
Right. And that's gone. That's out the window. Okay. Dirty Kansas time.
To back it up even before that, yeah, Dirty Kansas, 24/7, 365. But we were over in the UK, and so that was a pretty big deal.
Absolutely.
When you last saw us, we were heading out, and now that you're seeing us again, we are back, and so it was a trip of a lifetime for sure. But I guess before we go into our details, why don't we show people a little clip of the event, and then we'd love to tell you all about it.
Okay.
What cycling will become. It's instead of the pro racing, it's the love of a bicycle. That's what it's about, I suppose.
We're going to go bigger. We're going to, we build this gravel community that we've got here, and we're going to get more riders and get more people to come. Our fastest rider was Soren Nissen. He was a superstar. Yeah, effortless riding.
Very cool. So video from Dirty Reaver right there. Your take?
Well, I mean, you can see for yourself, the scenery is fantastic. Obviously, gorgeous views, gorgeous course. I didn't see as much as the course as you did. I was running around with the film crew, but you were riding it. And so tell us a little bit about what the course was like and how that compares to Midwest gravel.
Yeah, you know, I was surprised. How many feet of climbing are in the 200-mile DK?
It is about an even split of 5,500 feet per 100, so 11 to 12,000 total.
Okay. Take that into comparison's sake, and the Dirty Reaver for 120 miles on my Garmin showed over 12,000 feet of climbing.
Yeah.
So I did not take that into consideration as I rode this. I mean, I basically showed up as a tourist. Paul and Salsa UK was nice enough to say you can use this bike. So I hopped on a bike and I took off and started riding. And I can tell you that I felt every bit of that 12,000 feet of climbing on the bike. That, you know, it was a great bike. It wasn't my bike. So beautiful course. The video doesn't do the ruggedness of the gravel surface enough credit.
It never does.
It was brutal in portions, and I don't think there's any flat to the land. This was flat, you know, and so it was a long day, but it was a blast.
And for
excellent race. I mean, 8 stations.
And for those that don't know, this takes place in Kildare Forest in Northumbria, England, right on the Scottish border. In fact, you do, for a brief moment, cross over the line into Scotland, albeit very briefly. But so you're in a very remote portion of the island. So obviously the roads are Forest Service roads, very rugged, very tough. There's even a little bit of single track in there, right?
There's single track in there.
This was a true gravel adventure for sure.
Well, and you and I remember the moment we showed up. Zero cell service.
Absolutely.
Not roaming, nothing. I mean, you're on your own. You're riding.
That is precisely what you want in a gravel adventure. So this was only year 2. 800 people signed up. 800 was his cap. I would definitely put this on your bucket list. If international travel for a gravel event fits within your scope of things, I would highly encourage you to check this one out and make the trip over for this one.
I'm always accepting travel sponsorships for next year.
Yes. Bobby will go to represent you and your business.
Right. If you can't go, I can. So no, it was just, it was a blast. So
yeah.
Okay, we're back to Emporia. Do we want to briefly? DK's coming up, but before DK's coming up, while we were gone, there was some bike packing that was done. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, spring couldn't be a better time for bike packing, albeit it is our rainy season. But definitely the temperatures at night are perfect. The temperature for riding in the days are fantastic. And
Yeah. Our own Adam Blake took a trip up to, I can't ever pronounce the name of it.
Schwamigan,
Wisconsin. Yeah. I believe producer Matt talked with him before he went, and he's going to get a chance to talk with him post-ride.
Last time we talked about bags and what to put in them, and this time we want to show you, we just got back from a 3-day, 2-night tour of the Schwamigan National Forest and wanted to give you a little overview of what we packed and where. For my setup, I have a Bedrock bag, a seat bag, and a Bedrock bag handlebar bag with envelope. I have a Salsa EXP top tube bag and a Salsa EXP frame bag that was custom designed for the cutthroat. Being out for 3 days, you have to make sure that certain aspects stay dry. So I use dry bags inside these bags in a lot of cases. In other cases, not so much. The first thing that I got to when I would get to camp would be to pull out my tent and footprint from my frame bag and get that set up with my poles. My frame bag also contained food, extra beef jerky, toilet paper, extra crackers, and gloves, waterproof gloves and wool gloves. After unpacking my tent, I would get onto my handlebar bag, which is where my rain fly and beginning of my sleeping stuff sits. The nice thing about bags like these are they have compression qualities as well, so they can really smush down your load. I'll bring out my sleeping bag. which is in a dry sack. It is a little bulkier because it's a wide and a long. I need a wide for my shoulders. Test fitting sleeping bags is very important. You want to be able to lay in them before you purchase them. Make sure you can move around, make sure it's going to keep you comfortable. My bag is a 35-degree bag. Here's my rain fly for my tent. And then we'll get into my seat bag. In my sleep bag is my pillow, inflatable pillow. My bag liner, which functions in two ways. It keeps the bag clean and keeps, it's a lot easier to wash this than it is to wash my whole bag. So when we had dirty gravel, dusted legs, and things like that, you can get into a liner. It also adds about 15 degrees or so to my bag. So on our chilly nights, we had nights in the 30s and even sub 30s. This really is a vital piece to help keep me warm. An inflatable mattress pad or air pad, just to add some comfort to the ground. And after I've got that set up, it's kind of home base. Then next thing a lot of times we would do is start the cooking. So I pull out my stove. It's an MSR wind burner. It houses my fuel, my cup, and everything I need to cook. And while I'm cooking or boiling water, prepping for that, I'd pull out my extra clothes bag. This had wool socks, a pair of riding socks, an extra long sleeve wool base layer, and a down jacket in it. That's the big part of what we needed to set up camp. My smaller bags carried tent stakes and the food for the day. So trail mix, leftover crackers, things like that. And my envelope on the front carried all my extra amenities. Things like my spork, my knife, an extra battery cache for power for the cell phone, all that good stuff. And that was pretty much, besides water, water was carried in Nalgene bottles on the fork and in a bladder on my back. I did carry a backpack for this 3-day event. The backpack held all my tools as well as a 70-ounce bladder that I used. We did filtering from the lake to get extra water. Most of that was used to cook with. And so that would go into the Nalgene bottles for storage. So you've seen what I've carried. It served me very well for a 3-day, 2-night trip. I didn't take anything that I didn't use, and I break it down into 4 categories: shelter, sleep, food, and water. And if you can carry all those things, you're usually set for a good time. All these bags were sold down at Gravel City Adventure and Supply Company. We have a lot of guys, ambassadors with experience bike packing, so if you have questions, stop on down, talk to us, get your hands on the bags and feel the quality.
Thanks, Adam, for showing us all those tips on how to pack for a multi-day bike packing trip. Really fascinating to see how you do it. Make sure you're checking out all of our social media online, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our YouTube channel. We have tons of content being posted every day by riders like you. Bruce was out on a ride through the western Michigan area. David McDonald took out the trails at Santa Fe Lake. Sean O'Mara was out bike packing with Adam Blake this last weekend. That looked like a fun trip that group was on. Gary Owens made a trip up to Teeter Rock. Matthew Browning out riding in the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon. Alan Wheeler was riding around Clare, Michigan. Brian Hibbs was down in Alabama riding around the Talladega National Forest. Dylan went out on the Prairie Spirit Trail. Paul was riding around North Platte, Nebraska. Jay Morrison was out grinding the gravel of White Cloud, Michigan. Beth and friends were out enjoying the Prairie Fire route around Emporia, Kansas. Kathy went riding east of Cassidy over to Teeter Hill. A lot of people out there this weekend. Paul Arnold took the Rock Island spur of the Katy Trail in Missouri. Amy was out grinding gravel from Marysville, Kansas to Lincoln, Nebraska. Pat was out riding around Kaw Lake, Oklahoma. Ernie was riding the dry, rutted roads of western Kansas. Thank you to everybody that has submitted social media content to us this week, and please keep posting and sharing with hashtag #ThisIsGravel.
Dude, social media is taking off. I love it. You see all the pics and everything?
Yeah, it's kind of been around a while.
Okay, I meant our social media is taking
I
off.
love seeing these photos of where people are riding.
Okay, before we go any further, we had 2 plates of these. 2. They were snickerdoodles. I want to say thank you so much to Adam One Take Blake's mom for baking us snickerdoodles. Thanks for watching the show. And I did give Leland one. And there's one left for me. So awesome.
Well, have no fear, because we also need to thank John Jury and his wife.
Sweet! I actually didn't know about this. This is awesome. Holy moly!
Don't worry, I ate 3 bags already. So, no, not really.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. And I'd be remiss without mentioning the peppermint oil as well. You can put it in your...
Except for you and I.
Yeah, one for you, me, and Jeffrey even.
Aww.
Isn't that nice? So...
That is awesome.
Thank you for your gifts. Honestly, you can't understand fully how gratifying a nice sweet treat is at this time of the year for us. So
That's
thank you,
awesome.
thank you,
Thank
you.
That's a nice surprise. Thank you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Look at that.
You're all cute. Okay.
But yes, back to business, because it's mail time, right? Mm-hmm. And our first question actually comes from Jennifer in Canada.
Okay.
And she sent us a little card.
Matt, how stoked were you when you opened the mailbox and there's a card from Canada?
I will say my stoke level was off the roof. Like, not only is it our
Off the
first letter
charts.
from Canada, it's our first letter ever. So,
You're not supposed to say that.
what? It's the first letter that's not a bill coming into that box. So, yeah, the stoke level was off.
So
Awesome.
we love getting your questions via social media. That's a nice, easy, convenient way, but nothing can replicate the joy of receiving a good old-fashioned letter in the mail. So it's a lost art, but
Yeah,
we
no, that's
appreciate
awesome.
it. So Jennifer Kilborn from Kingsville, Ontario says, "Hello, Gravel Guru crew. Any tips for riding at night, especially on unfamiliar roads, trails, and when tired? Thanks."
Yeah. Okay, so let's focus on, most of us have ridden at night at some point in time. So let's focus on riding at night on unfamiliar areas.
Yes.
We have a lot of people, for example, the Dirty Cans that come down and they finish after dark, and this has come up before. If it's unfamiliar territory, I like to have a stationary light on the bike, bright light, and then I like to have a secondary light on the helmet. So first of all, as you're riding, you have the light in front of you at all times, but you can also look to side. You can look around, you can look down at your cue sheet. If you have a cue sheet in front of you, if the Garmin gives out in the middle of the night, you got to know where to go. So 2 lights. Well, I mean the tail light, but
Sure, you of course are required to have a red blinky light. That's a given, but yeah, that's a great point. You have to be running 2 lights, and keep in mind you don't have to spend a lot of money. There are some helmet-mounted lights that are simply good enough to read the things in front of you. If you don't want the high power, the costlier ones that. Will be able to see even farther. But a couple notes on that. I would encourage you to at least strive at some point, if you're going to be doing a lot of night riding, to invest in those, because you do not want to outrun your headlights.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be traveling at a speed faster than you can react to things that you can see.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as riding at night when tired, I want you to finish these things. I want you to get to the finish line, but you've got to understand, if you are at such a fatigue level that you can't stay on your bike, you are a danger to yourself and others. And if you're familiar with ultra endurance events, particularly things like Race Across America, that's when accidents happen, because people are so tired they can't keep themselves upright or on the correct side of the road. So never risk your own safety for the sake of completing something.
yeah, I agree. I'll tell you that if, for the number of people out there, if it's really rough area, I have a 700 lumens light on the front of my bike, and I'll crank that up to 700 if it's the chopped up, rutted out areas. Otherwise, 300 or 400 is great for most riding. So.
Yeah, and get there even if it's slow. Moving slow is better than not moving at all. So reduce your speed if you feel like you have to, given your light situation.
Okay. Thank you so much for the card.
I'll let you open that
Okay.
envelope. There
Oh,
were
geez.
our remaining questions.
Okay. Number 1. We did that one.
We did that
okay,
one. Cross
thanks.
that off the
Number
list.
2. When
Producer
should we
Matt's
start
looking after us.
tapering for a 200-mile event? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well.
The DK. Yeah, whatever.
Hey, old Dirty Kansas 200 miler. I'll start all of the training tips with, it is very personal and it does vary from person to person, but as a general rule of thumb, 2 weeks is pretty appropriate. Keeping in mind that a taper doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. A taper simply means that you're reducing volume. Upwards of 50 to 60% of what you've been doing in the weeks leading into the event or leading into that 2-week taper period. But you want to remain a little bit of intensity, keep some intensity in there. So your end goal is, here's what you need to take away from that, is the fitness you have is the fitness you have. Very little you can do in the next 2 weeks will drastically alter that. So have faith in the training you've done to date. Don't overdo it. That's worse than underdoing it. And just keep a little snap in the legs with a few quick hitter workouts over those last remaining couple weeks.
Yeah, I won't add much to that. I will say, though, that when you do travel for a race or a ride, you want to make sure and do a little bit of riding the day before. Nothing high intensity, but you want to do a little bit of riding. And I will take a moment very quickly to say, the Friday before the Dirty Kansas in the mornings, we will and usually do have a low intensity ride that is put on.
Actually, we should. It's on our schedule of events on the website. But that Friday morning ride is GU has taken it up a notch and is sponsoring that ride with post-event GU Stroop waffles and Granada Coffee and Gravel City Roasters here in Emporia have provided coffee as well for that post-Friday morning ride. So very little reason not to go shake out the legs with that group if you are here Friday morning in town.
Yeah, I think it's perfect timing. So, okay, I'll go ahead and read this since the card's in my hand. Number 3.
Get it.
How do you justify the first time costs of bike packing? Probably, I'm guessing this is in relation to the video that was shown.
Yeah, so Adam was talking about bike packing, and some of the real fancy equipment can be expensive. And I'll tell you, it is worth every penny, but it can be a daunting task when you're first getting started. So don't let that intimidate you, and don't let it stop you from bike packing. The bike packing is a dirtbagger's dream, so you don't have to have all the nicest stuff. Get on YouTube and search out how to make your own bags. Do some research on how to simply do without certain things, and how can you overcome those obstacles without buying anything at all. Make sure that everything in your kit that you're taking along has more than one function. If something can only do one thing, it's probably not worth the space it's taking. So really analyze, research, and learn about bike packing before you go spending a bunch of money on it, and do it. Do it repeatedly and make sure that you really do enjoy it before investing in all the fancy equipment.
I don't have anything to add. I bought a tent 3 months ago, and I haven't even taken it out of the bag yet. So at some point in time, we'll set it up in the basement.
One day, when we get Bobby to actually sleep in a tent or in the dirt, we will definitely film that occasion and let the world know, because it's not something that Bobby generally loves doing.
No. That's what they make hotels for.
So, our last question here is we're supposed to ask producer Matt.
That's all it says. It just says ask producer Matt.
All we know is producer Matt. So
go ahead, producer Matt.
Okay, guys, so on our social media feed this week, I'm just actually going to go ahead and show you guys this video. I'm just curious what your reaction would be if you came across this.
So he's probably about 10, 12 foot.
Yeah, he's pretty much the width of the swim.
Yeah,
Slightly more.
he's about 10 or 12 feet. Grab him. Go ahead. He's 8 something. He's not moving very fast. Yeah.
In a couple spots.
His head all the way back in the woods now.
His
Yeah,
head's like,
it's right. It's right.
I'm not sure how to react to that.
I mean, open range in Florida means a whole different thing than open range in Kansas. So, Bobby, how would you react coming across that little reptilian friend there?
Very, 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 very quickly. I came across a snake like that big one time and about put myself in traction reacting from the being scared of it.
Bobby lets out a shriek only dogs can hear.
Right. I have no idea. I turn around and run away.
I trust my bunny hopping skills well enough to get up and over, and
I would probably pick the bike up, jump over, and keep running for like the next mile before I even bothered to put
He
the
had
bike
just
back down.
eaten. He wasn't interested. So that was courtesy of the gravel gang there in Florida. So thank you for that submission. Thank you for sharing.
There's some more pictures, I think, of that on our website.
Check out Gravel Guru Facebook page, and they, I know, posted some other photos. So thank you for sharing. Always share your pictures on where you've been riding. We love seeing that and hearing about it. So. Yep. That does it for questions and answer, our mail time. Before we go, I do need to make mention that for the remainder of the month of May, we are issuing a challenge via the Black River app, our preferred method for bringing challenges to you. And while supplies last, the first folks that complete it will get a Gravel City bandana. And in addition, 20% off of select supplies at Gravel City Adventure and Moan Standard, which are both housed at 716 Commercial Street. So you need to be riding anyways. You still have a week or two to get some rides in. There are 3 different distances to choose from. Complete any route using the Black River app, and you can come in and grab your bandana. And if you need any supplies from Moan Standard to Gravel City, you get 20% off for completing that challenge. So we always do what we can to give you that extra little motivation to get out there and ride.
Do I get the 20% off if I complete those routes?
You do not apply.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
I'll still do the routes. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.